the science of character in the 21st century. And her 6-word bio: mother, filmmaker, wife, daughter, and Jewess. I love that. Please welcome Tiffany Shlain.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I barely have my voice right now. I just premiered film last night, and that's what happens when you work that hard on something, is you lose your voice. But I'm really happy to be here. I care passionately about this issue. And so I'm going to talk about a subject I think a lot about, and the science of character in the 21st century. And I kind of come at this, well, I'll tell you a little bit about my background here. I was born and raised in Marin County, and I was given did anyone have like an Apple IIe?
Yeah.
Woo!
No AARP.
I had an Apple IIe, then got a Mac when I was in 1984, when I was 14, and became obsessed with the Macintosh and the potential. And I always think it's good to remind people what it was like in 1984. Take a moment. That's what the world was like. Different kinds of digital citizenship.
I like your LinkedIn.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's so hard to remember because we're talking about being a citizen and then just new tools to do it. But back then, the computer was a portal to another world. And then I saw the web in 1994, and I became obsessed with the web.
I'm just standing.
You're just standing. Okay, cool. And I thought, okay, this is going to change the world. And I shortly thereafter founded the Webby Awards. How many of you, has anyone been around long enough to get the Webbies? Okay, I saw Larry is here. Yeah, okay, cool. So I spent a big portion of my life focused on the web, honoring the best of the internet, focusing on internet pioneers, and really studying. And we back then always had a category for education. It's grown now to like over 100 categories. And actually, I don't run it anymore. I ran it for the first decade, and I sold it 10 years ago, which is crazy. Just had its 20-year anniversary.
Is that your sound or some sound?
I don't think that's me. That's cool. I don't even really know. I haven't slept in like a week. I'm like, is that in my brain? It's called the Webbies, and I started a film studio in San Francisco. And it's called the Moxie Institute. And we do a lot of experiments with students and with people all over the world with what we call cloud filmmaking. So we are really excited about the idea of making things with all this technology, with collaborating with people. We call it a cloud film because what we usually do is, I think one of the most exciting inventions that ever happened that people don't talk about enough is when on your cell phone you could press a button and you could film yourself. And as a filmmaker, there is sound on that. I'm like, that is coming from the movie. So you could film yourself. So for me as a filmmaker, I used to always send film crews places, and suddenly I could do a call for submission about some question, and people all over the world could respond to me. And we'd put it together in a movie, so they would film themselves. We would edit it all together with animation and do research and make movies. And so we made a cloud filmmaking manifesto, because everything needs a manifesto. And with it, we always are pushing the boundaries of technology. We always want to collaborate. And we work with a lot of educators on our films. So I was given some research about 5 years ago on the work of the science of character. And it's Marty Seligman is a famous psychologist, is considered the father of the positive psychology movement. And he and this other psychologist looked at every culture throughout history and found 24 common character strengths. And these all, if you focus on them, lead to virtues. And what was so cool, I thought, how amazing, we're always talking about all these things that separate us, how amazing that there are these commonalities, that every culture throughout history values honesty and humor and leadership and all of these qualities. And I thought, I must make a movie about this, and I must share it as far and wide as possible. So I turned it into a periodic table. I love science. It was originally just a chart that we kind of animated and made it into this whole metaphor for the movie, that we're all these building blocks and we can constantly change them. And with a lot of digital citizenship work, because we've really expanded to a lot of it is about social responsibility, self-control, and there's a lot of qualities on there that have to do with digital citizenship. And so we did a big call for entries. Any of you that want to see what it's like to be on the other end of a cloud film, I have Tiffany Shlain on Facebook. We ask people a lot of questions. So we do a lot of research, and then what we found is that if you ask people questions, everyone wants to share what they have to think and feel. Everyone wants to be part of something larger than themselves. So we said, we're making this movie. How do you feel about this? We just got hundreds and hundreds of submissions from educators and students from all over the world. I don't have time to show you the movie, but I would recommend if you get a chance to see it. I also have a newsletter called Breakfast at Tiffany's that I've been doing since the Webby Awards, and I'm often doing these kind of experiments with cloud filmmaking, and you can sign up for that easily. So we thought with this new film, The Science of Character, let's do a cloud film premiere. So we were expecting that we were going to let the film, The Science of Character, an 8-minute film. We had all this educational resources, and we were going to let schools and companies and organizations premiere it. And like I said, you should watch it. It's all free on letitripple.org. But we thought, how could we premiere this film in a new way? And so we thought, let's start something called Character Day, where we're going to let people all over the world show the film for free. We're going to provide educational materials, and we're going to talk about character. Now, the word character is so fascinating how it's become back in vogue. I'm sure all of you are aware of that. And if you look at the history, all of the great philosophers, from Aristotle to Socrates to even the great educators like Montessori, and the great teachers like Buddha, and everyone was talking about character, and it was actually talked about in philosophy and just becoming a good person. And then what happened is it kind of got co-opted into just being a religious conversation. And then when church and state separated, suddenly no one was talking about character anymore. And I think there was a real hunger in the last 5 years to talk about meaning and purpose and living a good life. And a lot of conversations about digital citizenship are about being a good person. And it feels like somehow along the way we lost the value of that conversation. And of course technology adds all these new extensions to what that means. So for Character Day, we let all these different places show our film, or premiere our film. We had a global Google Hangout that united all the screenings and from every continent. And I'm going to go back to a little bit of the work of my company, my nonprofit, on Character Day. But something else that I feel like is relevant to this conversation is that my family and I, for the last 7 years, on Friday night, we turn off all screens for a whole day. And we call it our technology shabbats. I am Jewish. I'm not religious, but I love Shabbat, and I love rituals. And it has been the best thing I've ever done in my life. I mean, we do it. I cannot wait to go home tonight and turn off every screen in the house with my teenage daughter, my 7-year-old daughter, and my husband. A lot of people say, well, do you have a teenager? I'm like, yes. And guess what? She does it too, and she loves it. Everyone goes, oh, my kids would never do that. Well, guess what? Yes, they could, and they would, because you're the parent in the house. Parenting is about modeling behavior. When I talk to a lot of parents, they're so worried about their kids being on the screens, and guess what their kids say? The parents are always on their screens. So whatever you do, you are showing them what to do in life, on how to be a good person. And if you're always distracted and looking at your phone, guess what? So will they. So I, of course, had an event that made me really rethink everything. I lost my father, who I was incredibly close to, and I was thinking, what are we all doing when we're with the people we love and we're on our phones? And when he died, I said to my husband, do you think we could turn them off for a whole day? And he was like, he was really close to my dad too. It was definitely an event that caused it, but I'll tell you, I highly recommend it. You can do it whatever day you want to call it. You can do it Sunday, do it Saturday. But as far as digital citizenship, it makes me so much more mindful of when I go back on, because I can't wait to go back on. I mean, that's the thing. It's not like, obviously I'm into technology, with the Webbies and all my work, but I can't wait to go off it tonight And what's the one day you want to feel really long is Saturday, and guess what happens when you turn off technology is time slows down. It is like the longest day. We joke still, 7 years into it, wow, it's already 10 o'clock, we've done like 12 things. And because when you're on the screen, you're sped up, you're just doing, everything goes so much faster. So I don't have time to show you that movie either, but this is a show I have called The Future Starts Here. You can watch this 5-minute episode if you're so inspired to try it. The other film I think would be good for you to watch is Tech Etiquette, which talks a lot about issues I'm sure you guys have talked about. And then, I can't show you that, but that's technology spots. And then, can't show you that, sorry. How many more minutes do I have? Sorry.
You have at least
5 more minutes, okay.
Yeah.
The other thing I noticed from unplugging is this other episode called A Case for Dreaming. So the other thing is I feel so creative on Sunday when I've had this whole day away from screens. And so this experiment, this family experiment, which it started at, has just gotten deeper and richer because your mind needs to take a break from all these screens. And there's something actually, when you're focused on it, you know, if you just keep stuffing your face with data from your phone, you never let your mind wander. And usually creativity comes from your mind wandering around in its own brain and making connections between ideas that never connected before. That's why your greatest ideas happen when you're in the shower or walking. It's called the default mode network, and it's the neuroscience behind creativity. And that's what that episode, Case for Dreaming, is about, the importance of daydreaming and the importance of sleep, which any parent in the room can relate to that also. So anyways, back to the Cloud film premiere. So we thought we were going to premiere the science of character. When we finished that film, we also, because I'm Jewish, I made a Jewish version called The Making of a Mensch that looks at some of the same ideas. And we also made a film called The Adaptable Mind. These are all under 10 minutes. They're really good films to spark conversation. They all, when you watch each of them, they have to do with digital citizenship in a philosophical way. And they're all available to all of you. We also made free, we got a beautiful grant from the Templeton Foundation and others to make free materials that you can order, and the free posters. And this is a little trailer that describes Character Day. So we're in our we're just about to go on our 4th year for it. It's been really wonderful since the first year, so growing it together. This last year, which is this last Character Day, which happened just a month ago, we had over 90,000 events in 124 countries. I can't even really get my head around it because it got so big. But the model we created is it could go to 1 million events because everyone watches the films from the internet. The materials, the discussion kits, I need to raise more money for that, but it was really the most beautiful thing to see. And actually I'm going to try to go, because every school and company did their own thing, which was so incredibly cool. So I'm gonna just scroll through. This is our highlights page, just to give you a sense of people talking about digital citizenship. What does it mean to be a good person? Meaning and purpose. So I'm gonna tell you about that in a second. People made whole films about character. MIT, they had all these different screenings. Mexico, at the university, they had 8,000 students on every campus in Mexico holding screenings. This is Parksville Elementary, where we're back. They made an incredible video. We had Marty Seligman, who I mentioned before, Angela Duckworth, who's famous for Grit, and all these amazing speakers on our Google Hangouts, Saul Khan from Khan Academy. Deepak Chopra cheerleaded. It was crazy. We had all the departments previous in this Department of Education, and it was just, 125 countries and covers of newspapers, and I don't know, it kind of blew my mind. People had dinner parties with the theme of character. And I guess I say that because I think people are really hungry for this conversation. They are searching for this conversation. So I hope, and we launched something, so I just showed you all the periodic table of character strengths. And we launched something this year which we're calling Character Everyday Resource Hub. So we took that periodic table and we curated 5,000 items and we have a lot of great items from Common Sense Media, but all the research we've done over the last 5 years on character. And you can search, like I'm an individual, you can say I'm an educator, I'm a parent, I'm a student of life, whatever. I'm looking for films, books, apps, games, whatever, about strengths. So you can do about love, about humility, about self-control, and whatever age group, and you will get a list of media, because we are consuming, 8 hours of media a day. Why not let it be about things to strengthen who you are, or for your children, or for your students? So we just launched that. We're very excited about it. And then I'm gonna close with this film I just premiered, which you can all watch now. I just premiered at TED Women last night. So this is like a little teaser. And of course you're thinking, what does that have to do with digital citizenship? Well, it is the 10,000 year history of women in power. And what it's going to take to get to 50-50, and that's a lot about digital citizenship. Because there's a lot of really horrible, online, there's a lot of misogyny online. We need to deal with that. That's not what the film's about, but we do need to deal with that. A film is 20 minutes. I love making shorts. It's like the ultimate creative challenge to take complicated subjects, make them short. It premiered last night, you can watch it right here. Share it widely. It gives you the history of why it's so important that both men and women want 50-50 for our world. So I'm gonna leave you with unplug regularly, for real, not just on vacation once a year. Try it once a week. Experiment with the cloud. It's really fun to make things with other people and students and people because they do want to make things with you. Leave room for daydreaming. And sign up for Character Day, which happens next September 2017. And if you want to find out about any of these projects I've told you about, you know my Twitter handle, Facebook's there. Thank you.
I remember seeing your video, your episode on Shabbat. What do you call it again?
Technology Shabbat.
Technology Shabbat. Was it hard when you first started?
Yeah, I think it's awesome. Yeah, the first time I was like itchy, like I felt like, when you're like, where's my appendage? And then what I normally do is I keep a piece of paper on the counter with a big Sharpie. And whenever I have a thought or like a to-do or something and I don't know what to do with it, I just write it down. And then after about an hour and a half, that goes away. That still happens every week. You think of something you have to do and like, what are you gonna do with it? But you know what's really great is to have a question about something and not be able to look up the answer. Just sit with the question.
Right.
It's a fabulous thing to just try to think about it. What is that? It's a different thought process. It's good to put your mind in a different thought process every week.
I think it's great. It's really great. We all need to do that. All right, Tiffany, thank you so much. That was great.